Hello, my name's Suzanne. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about worrying and the tendency to worry, especially chronically, and why it doesn't work, why it feels and looks like it's going to help you to achieve your goal and get things done, but in actual fact, it does the opposite. So I'm going to use an example here of someone who I was working with not very long ago who was at work and had prepared a presentation to give at work, and I'd watched a few other people go first and give their presentations, and then the manager turned to them and said, "You're next after the break to give your presentation." What this person immediately noticed in their body was a sense of fear, anxiety, feeling a bit sick, shutting down, and running to the bathroom in order to collect their thoughts. Okay, or so they thought. So a classic fight or flight response here. We've got a flight response here in terms of the survival mind. So in between the event, the trigger, which was the boss saying, "It's your turn next," and the reaction, which was the fear and running away, we have the mind. So this is the part of us that makes sense of our experience, interprets it to mean something. So let's have a look, see what this person's mind said about it. "I'm not prepared. I'll dry up. It will go wrong. People will see that I'm incompetent and that I'm an imposter." Okay, so what we did was in our meeting together, we examined each individual one of these thoughts. These are thoughts, these arise in the mind, and the thoughts in the mind, or the perception of the situation, gives rise to the feelings in the body. So it's the mind bit that we want to be concerned about here. We went through each one of these. "I'm not prepared." Well, that person was prepared. They'd done a lot of work on this piece of work, and they were ready, but they had some fear, a fearful thought, that "I'll dry up, it will go wrong, people will see how incompetent I am, and I'm an imposter." So these fearful thoughts followed on from the first one. What we managed to do, took a little bit of time, was to discredit these thoughts because they were all false. None of them were true. There was no truth to any of them. And yet still, even though this person could see that there was no truth to any of this, there was a reluctance to let go of worrying and just being relaxed about doing their work. So I thought, well, let's have a look at this. This obviously is going a little bit deeper than these initial thoughts here. So we just stayed with this tendency. You could call it a tendency to worry. This person's described themselves as being a worrier. So we looked at, what's the reason for that? Why do you worry? What does it appear to give you to worry? What are the apparent payoffs of keeping on worrying? And this person described growing up in a household where they'd seen their parents worrying about things. They'd almost been taught to worry about things that mattered, so a conditioned response to taking on any responsibility or any projects. It appeared to be the adult thing to do. If something mattered and you cared about it, then you would worry about it. So we have here payoffs for this person looked like control. So there's an illusion of being in control often when you're worrying about something, that you've got it in hand, that you're giving it some attention and some energy, and that it's in hand and it's on your agenda. You haven't forgotten it. That gives an illusion of control. There's also an illusion of commitment, that if I'm worried about it, then I must be committed to it, even if the worry is so extreme that you're actually a bit paralyzed by it and can't act. There's still this illusion that, well, it's on my mind, so I must be doing something about it. An illusion of responsibility. So pretty much the same as commitment, really. I think there is often in our culture this myth that if something matters and you care about it, then you do worry about it, then you get stressed about it. It's almost like a sign of virtue signaling that I'm worried about it and I'm stressed. So therefore I must be committed and taking responsibility. Because we're investing time and energy and mental capacity into the worrying, it can feel like action or appear to be action. But actually, we'll see why it's not. And again, care. So it can appear that we care about this thing, and that's why I'm worrying about it. So these are what actually keeps us doing the same thing, doing the worrying. Some of the reasons that we might keep doing that. Now, what's it costing us to keep this going? This is the thing. Because this person was completely exhausted, wasn't eating properly, couldn't sleep, was so paralyzed with fear of getting things wrong that they struggled to do their best work and had to put far more hours in than they needed to just to get something done, just to get something completed. They were ill at ease, couldn't concentrate, couldn't enjoy time off, in fact, couldn't take time off because they felt too guilty about it. And a bit paralyzed about being creative, trying new things, so fearful of making a mistake that they were afraid to try anything. So, in terms of costs, it was costing them time because they were spending double the time that actually was required to complete a task because they couldn't concentrate, because this mental worrying was taking up a lot of their attention capacity and their mental bandwidth. It was costing them energy. Anxiety and fear are very draining emotions. They drain energy and focus, and your body's in fight or flight mode, ready to run away or fight, and all your energy and the blood supply has gone to your limbs in order to do this. So the rest of your body and your mind, your brain, your creativity is a bit starved of blood supply, which is energy, which carries oxygen, oxygenates cells, and gives you energy. Peace, creativity, actual action, actually taking some action, actually making a decision, and being willing for that decision to be the wrong one, because it's just experimentation. We can't know everything. We can only try things. We can make decisions and take action and see what happens. And if it doesn't end up at the outcome that we were hoping for, we will still have learned something in that process that is going to help us to get to the outcome that we were hoping for. Freedom, the freedom to make mistakes in order to learn. Now, you often hear this with students who are so afraid of getting things wrong that they can't perform properly in their studies, they have this mythological belief that they have to nail everything in one. Well, you're there to learn. You've got to give yourself a chance to learn. And that goes for everybody in whatever field you're in, what you're operating in. We need to give ourselves time and space and the opportunity to learn and the freedom to learn. So what to do about it? The most important thing, I think, is to get what it's costing you to keep this worrying going. If you really get that, it's like understanding that every time I touch that hot stove, I get a burn on my hand. So therefore, I'll stop touching the hot stove. You don't really need any willpower to do that. As soon as you understand how much it's hurting you to keep touching that hot stove, you're not going to touch it anymore. Well, it's the same with this. As soon as you understand how much it's costing you, really costing you, to keep this worrying going, then it's automatically going to be dropped. If it's not, if you understand it and it's still not dropping, you could practice letting go. So you can say to yourself, just for now, in the best way that I can, could I just let go of worrying? Just for now. And I can pick it up again whenever I want to. And just see what happens, because even if you just manage that for 30 seconds and then you pick the worrying back up again, you've got a 30-second experience of not worrying and the world not ending and nothing terrible happening. And you can just extend those periods for longer and longer until your nervous system understands that it's safe enough for me not to hold on to worrying all the time about everything in order to stop the world from ending. Just a quick video on worrying. I hope you found that helpful. If you like the content, please like and subscribe, and look out for my future videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you very much for joining. Bye bye now.